I have to question why the 10%, and it is, in fact, a very arbitrary number, why that was included to begin with. I can only assume that somebody wanted to prevent somebody from getting too much THC. Well, if you set that as a percentage of dosage, then you ought to also define what a dose is. The Morse Code Amendment does not do that. I would think it would be smarter to define how many milligrams per pound of body weight someone can get. But that's not what the Morse Code Amendment does. It just sets an arbitrary 10%. So what is the dose? Is it 50 milligrams? Is it 500 milligrams? Is it 5,000 milligrams? So 10% of that. So who's getting enough, not enough, or too much THC? I do want to remind my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that we've heard a lot of talk about the FDA today. And the FDA ought to do this, the FDA ought to do that. Well, let me tell you, the FDA has one THC-based medication approved. It's called Marinol. It doesn't contain 10% THC. It contains 100% THC, and the people who are taking it are not getting high. In fact, it's kind of ineffective for a lot of people for two reasons. Number one, because it's synthetic THC. It's not taken naturally from a cannabis plant. So that's kind of like, all due respect to my vegetarian friends, that's kind of like going to Thanksgiving dinner and getting served tofurkey. You know, it's fake THC. The other reason that Marinol is not effective is because, again, I go back to the fact that each compound in the cannabis plant needs to be used in combination with another compound that's available in the cannabis plant. And let me sum this up, Mr. Speaker, let's take us back a couple years to when we were in high school. We all had a combination locker. You know, you'd walk up to it, you twist it to one number, you twist it another way to another number, you twist it. Well, there's hundreds of millions of possible combinations of those numbers, and I'll give you just one example of combinations of numbers and how many possibilities they are. The Powerball. You pick between two numbers of 1 to 69 and 1 to 26. There are 292 million possible combinations. But if we limit you only to using 1 through 7 on that first number, you're eliminating 90% of the possible combinations that can treat people effectively and bring them relief. Folks, I also want to note that the bipartisan work group that the majority leader put together never said anything about a 10% cap. That's not anywhere in their report. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I know everybody's afraid of people running around getting high. Medical marijuana will not get people high. And let me tell you, patients don't want to get high. They want to get better. I urge a yes vote on this amendment, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.